Welcome to Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine. I'm your host, Jill Jardine, Masters in Counseling Psychology, longtime astrologer, psychic healer, and yogi. In today's episode, we're going to discuss everything you need to know about cryptocurrency, featuring my guest, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa. So stay tuned. Welcome to the episode where we talk about everything you need to know about cryptocurrency. My guest today is Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa. Lisa is rocking the crypto world and beyond with her informative videos on her YouTube channel, which also covers everything from health to politics to cryptos to woo-woo and more. Lisa also has a Patreon site where people can join and be part of a community while receiving all the crypto scoop from Lisa. 12 years ago, Lisa founded a nonprofit to serve kids in foster care, which quickly became the largest volunteer effort in the state of Oklahoma. The nonprofit partnered with the community to make sure that no child is without a gift every Christmas. This is how Lisa met three of her children. Her youngest two, the twins, were both born with only half a heart, hypoplastic left heart syndrome, caused from drug exposure while they were in their mother's womb. Lisa quickly learned to be a caregiver for medically fragile kids and an advocate for organ donation. She lived in the hospital with her youngest daughter during the first few months of her life until she received the gift of a new heart. Her daughter recently passed away after she developed cancer, PTLD, from the anti-rejection meds that she had to take to keep her body from attacking her new heart. Lisa founded a 501c3 nonprofit charity to honor her daughter, and every year celebrates her life by donating to the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. Lisa is married to her best friend and true partner in life. Their crypto journey is how they both got red-pilled and found out about Patreon. Lisa's 70-year-old mother gifted the couple a wedding gift of cryptocurrency, which was Litecoin, which launched Litecoin Lisa into her crypto career. We have a lot to share with our listeners, and we want to welcome Litecoin Lisa. Welcome, Lisa.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, Lisa, we want to know a little bit. I did read your bio, but we want to know a little bit about your journey through cryptocurrency. What can you share with my listeners about that?
Absolutely. I have a little bit of a unusual story. My 70-year-old mom got us started. She gave my husband and I was remarried in 2017. It was my second marriage. Got married to the love of my life. And my mother, as a wedding gift, gave us Litecoin. And that is what red-pilled us and just woke us up to the financial system and why it's so broken and what's wrong with our current currency. We call it dirty fiat here at the Davis household. Why it's so broken, and especially, now what we're seeing, the Fed just printing all this money and the inflation issue that we're seeing. And so that just took us down this rabbit hole. And that was kind of our journey. And that really inspired me to start the podcast and start a YouTube channel. We were following to learn more. We started watching people like Bitcoin Ben, and my mom had introduced us to Cliff High and Big Swear from Road to Ruta, and my parents had always been big gold and silver bugs, and so we were looking at precious metals and learning how important it is to have hard assets or assets that you can have in your possession. And so we're learning all about that, and then just kind of kept going down that journey. And so we had met Bitcoin Ben had started his world tour, he called it. And I was in the chat one day and he said, where should I go? And I said, well, come to Oklahoma City and I'll help you. I've got a friend with a restaurant and I've got a little marketing company. I'll do press releases and all this stuff. And so he's like, okay. So he came here to Oklahoma City, and that's what inspired me. He's like, do it, start a podcast. And so I started my YouTube channel, and it took off, and got to know a lot of people in the crypto community. And that's one of the things that I love about the crypto community is that it's really inclusive and everybody encourages each other. And one of the great things about crypto is the more people that we get into crypto, the more we all win together, because fiat is the enemy. So the more people we have get into crypto, we all kind of, what do they say, high tide raises all ships
Right.
kind of
You
thing.
all
So
rise together. So it sounds like your
absolutely.
journey into cryptocurrency totally transformed your life. And the other thing,
Absolutely.
I just to share again with my listeners, what is the name of your podcast, The New Normal? Do you want to explain how that name came up?
Yeah, yeah, and this was pre-COVID, so it kind of COVID thing kind of ruined it for me. But yeah, we were trying to come up with a name, and I was just in this big transition in my life. I had been a stay-at-home mom for 20 years, raised 5 kids, and then became a single mom, and was figuring it out and doing the career thing as a single mom, and had a couple different jobs, and was running my nonprofit and figuring things out. And then my daughter got so ill and passed away, and just going through these transitions in life where you're going through these seasons where you know I was a wife, and then I was a mom, and then I was a single mom, and then losing a daughter. I literally felt like and she had special needs, not only medically but cognitively, and behaviorally. So like I was always kind of, we were just very, very close, and so I felt like I was lost an arm or a body part, when she left, and so that was a huge transition. And then getting remarried was a really big decision. And so there's all these stages and seasons in your life. And so it's finding that new normal, as you go through these times in your life. And so I was going to interview these people and friends. I had a friend that lost her husband, and I have, another girlfriend that, we were single moms together, and we were going to talk about single mom in it together. And another friend with a child with disabilities that we kind of linked on each other. And so we were going to have all these interviews, and then that was my pre-crypto idea, and then crypto came along, and so I just stuck with the new normal name because crypto was also another season in my life, and so that's kind of where that all came from, and I think crypto is another new normal, and then getting red pilled and going down that rabbit hole, learning about the correct when the Fed was created on Jekyll Island in 1913, and how the IRS is really, a corporation that's founded out of Puerto Rico,
Right.
go
And they're
get
not
the
really anything to
education.
do with our
Nothing to do with the government.
it's
Yeah,
these
nothing
separate
to do with the
groups
Constitution. Yeah.
who are ruling our
So when
finances. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And when we get this education and get red pilled, then it's like this new normal, and you wake up to it and choose an alternate reality. So um,
Such an aptly named uh, podcast, The New Normal, before COVID, as you were saying,
yeah, yeah,
before it became a thing. That's your prophetic part, Litecoin
right.
Lisa. What is the name of your YouTube channel, just for people who might be looking for that?
So if you're looking for it, it's kind of sometimes hard to find. I'm a little shadow panned, but if you'll either sometimes if it's easier to look, write Lisa Litecoin or Litecoin Lisa, but you should be able to find me. I've been banned one time, so I lost a channel that had quite a few followers, but I'm rebuilding. I'm not going to give up. I don't give up. We keep fighting for truth, and as long as there's people out there, and we have great community that is really encouraging, and so there's great community on the chat. I'm live every weekday at 5 p.m. Eastern, and we have just a really strong community there. So if you guys can jump in the chat and say hi, and you'll be welcomed by a bunch of great patriots.
Yes, you have a great show. I was a guest recently on
Yeah.
Lisa Litecoin's YouTube channel, so check that out. I did share it on Facebook, but funny how Facebook will decide what they want to
Hmm.
share and what they don't want to share, right? So we're going to
They
switch
don't like
gears a little bit here, Lisa, and talk about what is cryptocurrency, because I know a lot of my listeners don't have a clue. So from your experience, what is cryptocurrency in an easy speak description? Go for it, Lisa.
Yeah. So a lot of people are familiar with. I just want to keep it really simple. A lot of people are familiar with having gold or silver, and how important it is to have that physical gold or silver and how they mine it out of the ground and they get the physical asset and you can hold it in your possession. And so Bitcoin or Litecoin are two cryptocurrencies that can be mined by what's called proof of work, which is a computer solving a problem or an algorithm using energy, just like you mine gold or silver out of the ground using energy to get that asset and have it in your possession. And so we're already in a digital currency situation anyway. Like right now, if you go to the bank and tell them you want all the money that's in your account, they don't actually have that paper money physically at the bank. You can try it. You can go to your bank and try it. They'll tell you they need so many days or whatever. Or first of all, they give you a hard time about it. They don't want you taking your money out of the bank. But they don't have that paper there. It's all just numbers on a ledger somewhere. And so the problem with that kind of system, that's what you'll hear these banks talking about, CBDCs or central banking digital currencies.
Yes.
Those are those numbers that they can print up just like they're printing this fiat into this inflation. They can change those numbers however they want. Those are all imaginary numbers. That's not like true cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Digibyte that are proof of work that you have to mine, just like gold and silver. That there's a scarcity. There's only so many. There can only ever be, I think it's 81 million. I'm sorry, is that right? I don't have the numbers in front of me, and
It's
I'm
okay.
terrible at this.
It's
But
okay.
there's only so many Bitcoin there will ever be in the world. And so there's a scarcity of Bitcoin, just like there's a scarcity of gold or scarcity of silver. And so that's part of what gives it value, unlike U.S. dollars where they can just print however many they want.
Well, that's very
Now there are,
interesting. Sorry, not to
yeah,
interrupt, but I
no,
just
no, no,
learned
you're good.
something myself. I didn't know that there was a limited amount of Bitcoin. I thought it was something that was
Yes,
going to proliferate and proliferate. So
no, 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 no.
just simply by knowing that piece of the crypto or the Bitcoin story, that would assign value to it. The other thing I hear you saying is that it seems like it's this whole thing that people were breaking an illusion with money. Money is really energy. And there's
Yes,
nothing necessarily behind it but
it's
what people put into it, right? What
yes,
people, the
it's
value.
about the labor. Yes, it's about the labor, which is where the word mining is so important because really it is the labor and it's the fact that we assign value to it,
Right.
and the scarcity and then the value or the labor involved in it.
What,
Now there are
excuse me one
a
second.
lot.
Could you go
Go ahead.
back, Lisa, and talk a little bit? You did mention, but the labor again, could you delineate that for listeners who might be a little bit still not understanding the idea of
Yeah,
labor
so just
connected?
like when you are mining gold or silver, the the value of gold or silver is that first of all that because we say just like back when they said puka shells were valuable, it was because the community said we say puka shells have value. Humans decided that was valuable, and so humans have decided we like that shiny stuff gold, and then there it takes energy and labor is energy to mine that gold out of the ground and it takes resources and energy to get that gold out of the ground. And so that's how we put that value on that gold or silver. And in the same way, they have a process and it's called mining Bitcoin in their computers. They can use different types of computers, but what the computer is doing is solving an algorithm or a math problem and multiple computers. It's not, I don't want to get too complicated, but it's not centralized. The other great thing about Bitcoin is that it's not centralized, which means it's not controlled by one entity like the Fed, in contrast.
Right,
No,
right.
one entity does not decide how much Bitcoin is worth or if the problem was answered correctly. It's what's called decentralized, which So one of the problems with money is that it can be what's called double spent.
Yes.
And one of the biggest things that Bitcoin solution solved was that it solved the problem of what's called the double spend. So in credit cards, it you can get money can get sent, or even with wires, money can get sent to two places at once. The
Y-
same money can be spent twice, and that's part of what happens with silver shares and stocks and all that. When they tell you own a piece of paper silver, they've actually sold that same piece of paper silver 10 times. They're allowed to sell it 10 times to 10 different people. And so you think you own that silver, but they've actually sold it to 10 different people. And
Wow.
so that stock market, that silver stock, is so manipulated, and it's the that whole thing is just such a lie. And so unless you own that physical silver in your possession, that's the only way to have that true market price be accurate. So with Bitcoin, multiple, let's say, computers, multiple miners have to confirm, and it's it's settled on what's called the blockchain, which is, if you imagine like a hole in the ground, and you can only put one answer in, and all the miners have to agree that that's the right answer, and then the next answer goes down on it next. There's a term called immutable, which means that it can never be changed. So it's a way that we can create a history that can never go back and change the history of the answer. So you can't go back and undo. There's another thing so on Thursday, I have a guy named Johnny Litecoin. He's been in payment processing for years and years and years through credit card companies and stuff. And he says, there's like mom and pop stores get destroyed from the credit card companies because not just the fees, but there's this thing called chargeback. And actually, credit card companies can wait to settle credit card fees for up to 6 months out. And they can do what's called a chargeback for up to, I think it's 6 months or something. And he said, like, he had this one mom and pop store that had a chargeback of up to $5,000 6 months ago, and it destroyed their business.
Wow.
And so, but that can never happen with Bitcoin. Once Bitcoin is sent and confirmed, so it has multiple confirmations, the miners do the algorithm and they say confirm, 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 confirm. And once it's confirmed by enough miners, then it says, okay, it's done. And then the transaction happens. Once the transaction goes through, it can never go backwards.
Wow.
So
That's
it's been
amazing.
proven to be a good. There's Bitcoin. There's this proof of work, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Digibyte, and those are true cryptocurrencies. Then there's like multiple thousands and thousands of what's called tokens, which people call them cryptocurrencies. They're not true cryptocurrencies. They're a token, or they could be tech.
Oh,
So they could be
interesting.
something like data, which is like a technology that uses blockchain, but it's not really a true cryptocurrency, but people still call it crypto.
I
So
wonder
then that
what,
gets way more confusing. But
yeah, so Bitcoin, Digibyte, and Litecoin are
no,
the
yes,
true cryptocurrencies, and all the other ones are just tokens. So why would
yes.
somebody invest in a token if it's not a true cryptocurrency?
It's still good. It's still a blockchain project,
Oh, okay.
and it's still kind of like back when the .com thing was a thing and
Yeah.
an opportunity to gain wealth. It's still in that kind of grouping or whatever. It's just not currency.
Okay.
It's different.
Interesting. So I'm going to just reiterate what you were saying about the benefit of cryptocurrency is that it removes central banks from managing the money supply, since over
Hmm.
time these banks tend to reduce the value of money via inflation. And the other thing that is good about Bitcoin and the technology behind cryptocurrencies is the blockchain, because it is a decentralized processing and recording system and can be even more secure than traditional payment systems. That's kind of what
Absolutely.
you were talking about.
Right.
Now,
And it's all about a peer to peer, that
oh,
there's not a third party involved. When Satoshi wrote the white paper in 2009, it was all about having a peer to peer, that there was no middleman. We don't need exchanges. We don't need, it was about having, minimal fees, and it's about exchanging peer to peer with each other.
okay, thank you, Lisa. I have one more question for you. If somebody was to ask you, is cryptocurrency a good investment? What would you tell them?
I tell you, it's the best performing asset in the last decade, and it outperformed the S&P by over 600%, I think they said. And in the last 6 months, there has been the adoption has been more than doubled in cryptocurrency users in the world.
So it's gone up 50%, those people who are investing in crypto?
More than doubled. So more
Oh,
than
more than
50%,
doubled.
more than
Wow.
100 per, yeah, more
Oh
than
my
doubled in the
gosh.
last 6 months. There's been more than doubled the users in the last 6 months, and then in the last decade, it was the top performing asset in the last decade over S&P 500 by over 600%.
And so what do you see? I know SL369 is the crypto prophet and I'm the psychic, right? The astrologer. But what is Litecoin Lisa's prediction for the future of crypto?
Well, I just really resonated when you came on my show, and when we did the show with SL, about when you were talking about Bitcoin being that bridge. And, I think when the crash in 2009 happened, we didn't have an answer, and the Fed has been kicking the can down the road. We know that Petra went negative on DJT Day. What was that, last year? And I think that this does give the people a way out. And I think Bitcoin is the people's money. And I think it's going to help a lot of people. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm grateful my mother was brave enough to tell me about it, and that, I got into it and started learning as much as I did. So,
It seems like it arrived in your life at the perfect time and basically is helping carve a new destiny for you, Litecoin Lisa. I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. My guest has been Litecoin
absolutely.
Lisa, aka Lisa Davis. Check her out on her YouTube channel and also check out her podcast, The New Normal. Thank you, Lisa, for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Take care. Have a great day.
I hope you enjoyed both parts of this two-part series on cryptocurrency featuring SL369 and Litecoin Lisa. Remember to subscribe, download, share, and give us a 5-star review. This is Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine signing out, sending healing cryptocurrency visions and vibrations through the quantum field.